During a tremendous thunderstorm, the entire world just lit up like daylight out there for about 2 minutes. So we could go down at any moment.
Minnesota is having to answer for its many multiple sins.
Yeah, but actually, I think the stream would stay up because you're on, Scott. So
it could, yeah.
So you're still using that old intro, huh? The one that I made all those.
Yes, yeah. Well,
did you make it, Brain Bug? It's really good.
Oh.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
I was learning how to use my editing software. I'm like, you know what? I'll make a nice little intro for speed.
Yep, it's really nice. Good. I really liked it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So is it Brain Bug now, or if we change the name?
The name's not changed yet. The name will change June 4th.
What did we decide on? Skeptic Bug, was it, or?
It's looking like it's going to be Hive Science. Overwhelmingly looking like it's going to be.
Oh, really?
Science,
okay.
So
now you had an episode. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go on. So I was just saying, I voted for Skeptic Bug, but
yeah.
You know.
Now, Brain Bug, you had an episode that had something to do. It was like something chula, which was like a combination of tarantula and something else. Just recently.
Oh, the bamboo tarantula. Yeah, that was
bamboocula.
Yeah, that's what
I was thinking, man, we need to. That sounds almost like a good channel name, except for the fact that it's kind of hard to remember.
Bamboocula
or pronounce, but yeah,
that's like a drink that you would order.
Bamboocula.
Yeah.
That's how I got Captive Desk. It's an anagram for Skeptic Dave. I figured there's probably a million Skeptic Daves, so it's Captive Desk.
So Ian, hit me with your ladybug questions again. Or not your ladybug questions, but your firefly questions.
Okay, but wait a minute.
Ian, I was thinking of you when I got asked that. I was thinking I have no idea. God, but
so Ian, I think you're the first person I've seen that actually handled Hovind, other than Arn Ra. When Arn did Ra.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
Yeah, you did really good.
Conspiracy Cats did a good job too.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
thanks, guys. That's really high praise if you're putting me up there with Conspiracy Cats. That was one of my all-time favorite debates. Yeah. So I don't know if I did that well, but all I know was I kept on being muted by Donnie. He kept on muting me. But the funny thing is, Donnie sends me like these messages, basically saying that he could understand me. So I really don't know whether it's Kent's little tactic on trying to get the conversation to where he is, or maybe it's my accent. Who knows? Because I have been told I speak too fast. So it might be that as well, but who knows?
I don't think so. I think it was probably Kent's tactic, to be honest.
When you slipped in
the
speak redneck part, I almost lost it. I mean, it was, and then my son got it
because Kent grew up in Illinois where I live. So
really?
So really? Yeah, that's we're
right, but not everyone in Illinois is a redneck skeptic.
Don't pronounce the S, Ian. Illinois.
The opinion of Minnesotans is that Illinois is
Illinois. My apologies. My apologies.
Apologies.
And then what was the other one? Your ass is jealous of your mouth because of the amount of feces.
I was going to say shit, but I thought, I better not. He'll cut me down. He'll cut me off, so he just did feces. But he was just going on and on with his normal rhetoric that he just, doesn't explain. And he forgets everything that he's learned in previous debates. So literally, to me, it's like, it's rubbish. It's shit. It's rubbish.
I got to wonder, why does Matt Powell leave you alone? Everybody else who Kent engages with, Matt Powell makes these like hit job videos where he hacks it all up to make him say like the dumbest
stuff.
Me.
Matt Powell's blocked me.
Oh, maybe that's why. Because yeah.
And do you know why he blocked me? He put out a challenge video on a debate. I answered, then he blocked me. I didn't even say anything bad. He just blocked me.
Yeah, he challenged me to a debate and then just like ghosted me too. So I hear that. But I'm
I
not
just
really
want
that
to say
interested.
real quick before we keep continue the discussion that Jordan, or I saw he was in the chat a minute ago. I don't know if he's still here, but hey, reason to doubt.
Oh wow, yeah, he was in here, wasn't he?
I mentioned him a couple of times, Jordan.
He said just popping in. I wish he'd popped in and chat with us.
Yeah, and welcome Jungle Jargon, right?
Hey.
That's Jungle Jargon.
Hey, Jungle.
Hey, Speed.
Jargon.
What's up?
Hey, you haven't been
Hey, Jay.
here for a while. For a long
Yeah.
time.
Is my signal coming in okay, or do I have to move?
No,
No,
you
you're
sound
fine.
Yeah,
good.
you have good signal.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
You're good.
Okay.
Yep. I wasn't
All
gonna
right.
do this.
Hey, Ian, how you
but
doing?
Hey, Jungle, how you doing? Was it one of the questions was from you too, wasn't it? Or wasn't the one of the questions from you I
Yeah.
saw?
I sent a question about the information, how to get there.
Yeah. I couldn't 100% answer it, so I try to answer the mechanism way because that's what I know. So I apologize for that, but I can look into it if you want to email me.
What was the question?
How did the information get there, or how can you get vast amounts of information by making mistakes?
Oh, that's okay. You make a vast amount of mistakes, and you filter. Basically, there are things that will filter out what doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I kind of said. I said natural selection is the mechanism
But
that kind of
things
first you got
do
to
get
define what's a
through that.
mistake.
Things do get through the filter, though. Jungle Jargon. They
I-
definitely do some weird stuff.
I know
better.
better. I know better than to answer to you. I know better.
Hey, Leo, you
I know
did a
better
great
than
job
to
too.
answer, try to answer.
Yeah, so I just saw Leo's chat came up, and I think he did a fantastic job in his debate.
I will say, Leo, listening out there, Leo's conversation with Kent about the space time was one of my favorite interactions I've ever seen anybody have with Kent.
He was pretty knowledgeable on cosmology.
Yeah. Anyway, Jungle, sorry, I didn't mean to step on your conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want you to be aware that there's no hard feelings, Ian. We love you and everything, but
Hey,
but
Jungle
we
mate,
believe you're
I'm
sincerely
Australian.
wronged.
I don't know if you know Aussies, but you can't shake us. You know, like everything we say is a piss take. We make fun of
That's
everything.
good.
We're irreverent to everything. It's just we don't care. So yeah, say whatever you want. I'm glad. And Jungle's likewise.
good.
Likewise. So,
When everything in your country is trying to
Alright.
kill you, then nothing's really going to phase
and
you.
it also doesn't help, Scott, that we're always upside down, so the blood's always like rushing to our heads.
Well, Jungle knows what it's like to be from a hostile environment, right? He grew up in the Amazon.
The tiger. Was that a cheetah? What is it?
Jaguar, I believe.
Jaguar.
Amazon. I'm from the equator.
Mhm.
Oh, right, gotcha.
I'm from the
No,
equator.
That was a good
where
question,
I
though,
can see the
Jungle.
Southern Cross.
Pardon, you can see the Southern Cross?
From
The
the
what?
equator.
Oh, right. I guess you could see both sides if you're from the equator.
Yeah, from the equator. Yeah, I grew up looking at the Southern Cross. I grew up seeing the Southern Cross.
Yep.
Okay, who sang a
Cool.
song about the Southern Cross back in the 70s?
When
Great
you see
Southern-
the Southern Cross for the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know who that
I
is.
used to love that song.
I think Jungle Jargon, you need to put a video out on you doing karaoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to do a video where you sing it for us.
I wanted to
Right.
ask.
Yeah, I
Since we're
can do
talking
pretty
about,
good.
sorry, since we were talking about the Amazon and whatnot there for a second, I wanted to just ask you: did you guys see the two pink dolphins that were playing with the anaconda?
No.
No.
Yeah, that was there
Link,
was pictures of it. Yeah. Good
or I
stuff.
could Google it.
I that reminds me of the time brain bug when I saw two pink dolphins playing with my anaconda.
You saw two pink dolphins?
Well, pink dolphins being girls and anaconda being something else. But I'll leave that to your imagination. Anyway, hey guys, I'm just gonna duck away for 20 or 30 minutes or so. If you guys are still on, I'll dial back in.
Right,
All
Ian?
right.
Is that okay? Sorry to kind of bell. Just gotta
I used to
actually
swim
quickly
with the pink
make lunch for
dolphins.
the kid. Yes.
All right. Well,
So I'll come back on.
I got a jet.
in
I got a
half
jet
an hour,
too. I
okay,
wanted to
Steve?
tell you good job though, Ian.
Oh no, thanks so much. Yeah, no, appreciate it. I
brother.
knew I'd be at the lion's den. I knew I'd be getting a lot of questions, but at least the questions were fairly intelligent. So I was quite surprised by that. It was quite good. And Jungle Jargon, your question
Well,
was intelligent, but
yeah, I
sorry,
don't.
go on.
I just want to say hi. I want to say hi to Speed and hi to Ian, and try to let you know that we have no hard feelings, and we want the best for you and everybody.
No, I appreciate that, mate. Appreciate it. And
Yeah.
there's never any hard feelings with me. You can
And
never
and,
pick.
and, and Jungle, I've probably been hard on you occasionally, but I really like you, so you should know.
So my debate with
Yeah,
Ken Hovind,
yeah.
what
That's. I
everyone-
mean,
how's
yeah.
that? All right, guys. I need
Was
to go
that-
make lunch for the kid.
Would
I'll be
Ken-
back. I
Ken
said my
Hovind
debate
what?
with Ken
Ian.
Hovind brought you all together.
See you later, Ian.
See you.
All right, half an hour if you're still on. All right.
Ian.
See ya, Brainbug. Bye.
So
I think Dave, you said you need to take off as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I got a jet too, but I had to
Later.
duck in and say hi.
yeah,
Later.
Dave,
Oh, Leo.
stop
said-
in once in a while, Dave.
Yeah, I wanted. Yeah, I
Yeah.
will, Mike. I wanted to say, hey, how was you doing and everything, and
Yep.
I ran into Scott a couple of times now too, here and there. So yeah, we're becoming like old friends already.
That's right. It's like we're on the same in the same town, just passing each other on the sidewalk,
Right.
stopping to chat.
I just hope we meet each other sometime in the side chat again, because I enjoyed our little discussion there.
Well, as a plug, you can get a hold of me at Captive Desk.
Okay.
That's my YouTube channel.
Plug your channel too on the weather report. Not that,
Yeah, that would help.
Not that I'm doing a hell of it. I don't
I'm always-
exactly have a lot of subscribers, but we've got
That's I've got I'm up to 12, so I was ecstatic. So
I'm up to I finally up to 530, and it hasn't gone below for about a month. So like I fought for 530.
But I'd like to do some more chats too. So if anybody's interested, or anybody that's interested in doing a chat, just get a hold of me. I'd like to put up some more videos. So
Okay,
No problem.
well, I might be interested in that. That's
all right, cool. All right, well, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Nice to
Yeah,
chat
see you,
with you there, Dave.
All right, y'all have a good night.
You too.
Night.
So Bree, what am I looking at here?
Hymenopteron of some type.
What kind is he?
Like a. Let me see them. Let me see the back legs.
Well, I'm
Hind
trying.
legs. He's not real.
And then there were 4.
Let's
Doesn't have a real narrow waist.
He's got a real narrow waist, and he's got. Let's see. I think later on. Well, I'll see if I can pause it at the right moment. I'm messing with him. He's alive too.
Oh,
Oh,
Barely alive. And
So- Did you find anything strange in your chimney?
we found dead mice, most
Okay.
skeletons, and we found some nests, and that was about it so far. So I'm looking for. Okay, there's his head, real good.
My.
So he's got some really awesome eyes. I've got 3 videos. Let's see. I'm trying to get. No, he has. I'm trying to get the back of his head. Let's see.
Man, if I were a bug, I would avoid Speed's yard.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
my gosh, I bet they have stories about don't go into that old man's yard.
Yeah, exactly. He'll fuck you up. He'll put you under that microscope. Okay, here we
People
go.
that-
how
Well, you
how
never
big is
come
this little
back.
guy?
Here's he's size of my little the first section of my little finger. He's about an inch and a half. He's pretty good. Well, here I've got him here. Let's see if I can. I hope he's still alive. Oh fuck, he's still alive. Oh shit,
He's still alive?
he's still alive.
Are you sure he wasn't just in a toper when you found him?
He's kind of. I hit him with insecticide.
Oh,
Okay, so I
I
got
must
him.
be really tired, but I just realized that Brainbug's avatar looks exactly like the insect on the screen.
Okay, I'm trying to get a measure
Why?
of him here.
he's
Or,
talking about. I'm
very similar.
Queen and Speed sitting here talking about spraying one of my
Minions?
citizens. Yeah,
Killing
one of
him?
my.
Yeah,
And-
he's an inch. He's about an
You're gonna
inch.
have to declare war, Bree.
I'm thinking that
Oh,
this is.
sorry. Or do you still go by Rainbow, or do you want me to call you Bree?
Well, I
I'm
was
sorry.
saying earlier, I'm going to be changing my channel name from Brainbug. I'm trying to steer away from the Brainbug name, but I don't
okay.
like get on to anybody for calling me that. But Bree is what I'm going by right now.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, look at those eyes. They're actually like S-shaped eyes. They curve.
Yeah, those little in the middle there, those are eyes too. Those are
Yeah, I know.
ocelli.
Yeah, those three.
I think this is a northern paper wasp. I think.
Okay.
It's a little from the size. Maybe this may seem a little small, but this time of year it may just be a smaller.
I think they're building nests. So let's see. I got another video here. Fire that one up.
Yeah, they build the little.
Snake was right. Can join us tonight.
Little clustered nest. Yeah, Snake, get in here.
Snake, click on that link.
Okay, there's a pretty good picture of the side of him. You see him moving?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right in front of me now. He's moving his stinger back and forth. I got to be careful that I don't put my hand down on this son of a bitch.
Some sort of neurological reaction since you basically toxated him.
I'm pretty positive that this is a northern paper wasp. Polistes fuscatus. So, yeah, they build a little round, like they almost like a little honeycomb shaped thing, or like a lotus blossom with the holes in them. They'll be under eaves of sheds or on rural property in old barns and things like that. They can also, of course, be in your basement or attic or under your porch or under the eaves of your house.
Here's you can see the top of his head, so he's got that crescent in front, two stripes toward the back of his neck, and then two vertical stripes running down. So you can see the patterning, and I could not find that pattern on Google. And then he's got these yellow things in between the stripes on his what is that? The thorax, abdomen, or bugs? I don't do bugs, Bree. So, you see these round things here? Can you see my cursor? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, those round things right there. There's like two of them running in between the stripes. And then there's two vertical stripes and two horizontal running across the head right there. And then right around the front of the head, he's got a band of yellow. So that's his patterning. And I was trying to find that pattern somewhere. And
well, here, let me see here.
Speed, looking at the weather map, the radar, I mean, looks like the worst is over.
Yeah, it's kind of quieting down up there. I think my son, Dylan, are you down here? No, he went away.
I just don't like the shape of that.
Does this look like your guy here? I think it does, but
let's see.
Disagree.
So is there any way to tell what a insect like that is feeling when it's been hit with some sort of insecticide?
Drunk, like really high and drunk. So let's see.
Pain, do you think, or?
I don't think it's pain. I don't know. Hard to say. He would not suffer because insects are Buddhists.
Not that one. Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I lost it. Just a second.
Oh, there's a nice picture of the patterning on his back.
There you go. Try that.
Okay, let's try this. Yeah, the last time I clicked on it.
Yeah, there we go. And the image is just from Wikimedia, but this is so you got the round that you're talking about, right?
Right.
Then we got the line. You can't barely see them right here, but like right in there, you got those stripes that you're talking about in your image.
Yep.
This ones aren't nearly as dark and long as yours. That's probably going to be a regional thing, depending on where they live, because we have these around here too.
Okay.
So I think this is your guy.
So I had 7 of them in the house this morning. One is still at large. And I caught 7 of them with a butterfly net. And 6, and then this one I hit with insecticide. And then picked them
Sometimes
up.
they get caught between your shade and the window, and then they just die.
They do. They like to build in between windows too. Yeah, in between a window and like a storm window, or between a window and a screen. They're like they really like to. If they can get up in there and build something, they will.
So that's a northern paper wasp.
Mm-hmm. Northern paper wasp.
Now, why is it called paper wasp? Does it get around the
Paper.
same wood or something? That
Yeah, they chew up. That's what they build their nest out of. Is chewed up wood pulp and paper. They'll use paper harvested from human stuff too. So sometimes you'll see some brightly colored one a nest because they'll chew up some bright colored paper.
What about before we had paper and stuff? What do they use in the wild? Is it?
Yeah, they'd use like decayed wood pulp and stuff like that.
Decayed wood, okay.
Yep. But,
or did they become a subspecies after paper was invented?
No, they make this because they make paper is their main thing, not because they use paper because they were making paper before. I wouldn't necessarily want to argue that they were that we got the idea to make paper from them, but I wouldn't say we didn't either.
So do they just chew on it and then poop it?
They chew it up and spit it out.
Okay.
They masticate it, if you would. They can't really masticate. What would you call it? Mandibulate.
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 Are you mandibulating?
All right. Well, I wanted to pop in and say hey to Ian and tell him a good job, but I do have to go. I got family stuff going on upstairs, but it's been fun hanging out.
So, Bree, can you stop into the weather report tomorrow to solve another bug mystery for me?
What time's the weather report?
4 o'clock. 4 p.m.
That would be on Friday, wouldn't it?
Oh, Friday. Yeah, not tomorrow. Friday.
Maybe I can't. Well, like 4:30, I get it is when I get off work. So.
Okay, this one is interesting because I've got a life cycle that I want to talk about. It's a thing that puts larvae in all my leaves. And anyway, I want to find out about it. So
yeah. Oh, for sure. Sounds like fun.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Yep.
See you later, man. Or lady. I apologize.
Look at that picture of his eyes. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
That brown eye.
Kind of reminds me of the supervillain Manta from from Aquaman. That's it.
Yep. That's cool. Anyway, well, I wonder if Ian's going to come back or.
They said if we're still here in a half an hour, but then again, if we haven't got anything to do or say or talk about,
don't know if we're going to be here in a half an hour. So, Andrew, let's see, what the hell was it? Okay, there was have you been following that conference out in Israel at all? I mean, have you been watching Cell's little reports on it?
Not particularly.
Okay, he's going through and he's really, him and Emery Moyna are overly excited because most of the scientists don't identify as evolutionary biologists. They're biophysicists or chemists or whatever. And I don't understand why they're so excited about this. But then they're also excited because of the amount of creationists that are there. But that whole thing was funded by a couple who owned a company that made lipids for medical reasons in Alabama. So they're from Alabama, and they basically put that together. But on their pages, I don't see any information about them being Christians or any of that stuff. They're just a couple that owned a big pharmaceutical company and sold it, and then they have a lot of money. So,
just out of curiosity, what would be the purpose of making lipids?
I don't know much about medicine. There's for drug delivery systems.
Okay.
Well, actually, the vaccine for corona, I believe, is encapsulated in lipids that as a drug delivery system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's going to be that is a new field that is unfolding and has been They started testing it back in 2002, and I think they're just now creating medical applications where they could deliver. Because
does the lipid like decay and then
no,
release the?
It's a circle, a sphere of lipid around some sort of mRNA or something, right? Something they want to put in your cell. And when it hits your cell surface, okay, on top of the lipid, they have some proteins that will allow it to attach to a cell, to a particular cell. And then it merges with the cell and it injects the contents to the inside of the cell. So it's like if you imagine you got a big bubble, and then you have a little tiny bubble that lands on the big bubble, and the barrier breaks between them, and the little bubble becomes part of the big bubble. And what was inside the little bubble is going to be injected inside of the big bubble.
It's all about the bubbles, bro.
So it's a bubble delivery system, and that's basically how the coronavirus
That's pretty cool.
vaccine works. So there's that. Anyway, the conference is amazing. They have some amazing topics, but they've sprinkled it with a bunch of ID and creationist people, and I think they did that because they wanted it to be balanced, and they wanted to hear new ideas about evolution.
Couple?
The Weizmann Institute put it together. So the couple funded it. I think it had a lot to do with starting it. So it was kind of a collaboration. There are a lot of Jews there, and they have their faith is good. They have a very decent brand of faith where they're very open-minded, and 80% of the people in Israel are atheists. Did you know that?
So yeah, I knew that because Minnie Karen was on Dapper Dinosaur's latest live thing, where he it was today, I think, where he was just responding to different videos, and he mentioned the large number of secularist Jews that live there.
Yeah, and they're still religious. They still have faith in a religion, but they're atheists. So you can imagine why I would get along with them, because that's kind of how I identify.
Yeah, and for some reason the Jewish leadership, at least among your larger affiliations of Jewish people, have a better way of dealing with different interpretations of the same scripture.
Yeah.
Rather than going to war, they just acknowledge the other person's belief and then continue believing the way they see as warranted.
Yeah, and not only that,
but a better way to do it than to condemn people to hell and start your own split off church.
They have this attitude of, we don't know. Let's look. Let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. Which is very commendable. And so I think the conference was put together in that spirit, and it's going to be interesting to hear how David Deemer does and stuff like that, alongside James Tour.
I just want to see how that went.
Yeah,
Icarus is really good at providing us with quick information. He's always ready to Google and Wikipedia and find links. Thank you, Icarus. Tell you what, Icarus, you get to be the side chatter of the month, and you get your own parking space. Hello, Midnight.
Hello.
You doing all right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So Bruce Damer got back to me.
And?
Well, I'm trying to figure it out. And he met with Dave yesterday, Dave Deemer, and he just gave his talk to the meeting via Zoom. Tor and Behe were there in person. Doran Lansman of the Weissman was a host, and according to Dave, not impressed by the ID guys. Yet they were well behaved. Let's see. Science is moving into an exciting new territory, he says. Their science, what him and David Deemer are doing. And he said, time for an update. And that's a question. So he wants to come on again and give us an update.
Yes. 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 Get him
Okay,
on.
and
He's an interesting guy.
Professor Dave weighed in on this because I CC'd him, and he says, I better not say it out loud.
Okay, in the backstage, whenever we do shoot it in the head in the future.
Okay, because I don't have permission. I'm sure that Bruce wouldn't mind me sharing what he said, but I'm going to let it go at that. Let's see. Steve Benner is there, and he will take no nonsense from anyone. Pretty cool. So it's going to be interesting to see the results of this.
Well, you know, I like the idea of those conferences. Maybe we're just weird, and not too many other lay people are interested in it. In you know, the study of abiogenesis and astrobiology and things like that.
Yes.
But it's fascinating, and I just want to see progress made, and those conferences inform each discipline so that they can more confidently inquire into what direction to take.
Right. Hey, Midnight, hi. You called me and I was sleeping.
Did I call you?
I don't know. Was it yesterday? Was it last night? But I was dozing off and I looked at the phone and I thought, oh, fuck. I just can't talk right
I don't think I remember.
Oh, well, I'm insulted. You don't remember calling. I am important. You should remember if you call me.
Well, I'm insulted that you're insulted.
Oh, well, I'm insulted that you're insulted that I'm insulted.
And 20 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think we have time for that. So there's that conference to keep an eye on. What I'm doing is I'm looking at how cells adhere to one another and how they exchange messages and how they sort into groups. And so some really cool stuff. Like they can take 3 different kinds of cells, right? Cell A, cell type A, cell type B, cell type C. And cell type A or cell type C sticks to each other much better than anything else. So it's harder to separate C from C. And cell type B is somewhere in the middle, and cell type A is the weakest of all. So they can take those cell types and they do something called trypsinizing them, which kind of dissolves the proteins between them and sets them all free, right? So they're all jumbled up. And then they stir them up into, so they're all mixed up. And then they wait and they resort themselves into a circle, a membrane of basically cells around another set of cells in the middle. And then at the very center are the ones that stick the best together. And they form organs. So they basically, with just physics alone, they form a 3-layer organ, like with a skin around it, just like your liver. So that's part of how embryogenesis works, is you have varying stickiness of cells. And some cells like to stick to themselves more than anything else. Other cells like to stick to another type of cell more than they like to stick to each other. And if you take all these different combinations, you can end up with all sorts of weird little shapes of organisms that automatically form with just physics alone. There's no basically gene regulation or anything other than the gene regulation is how the cell gets its type, that it determines what's on the surface. So anyway, I'm looking into that stuff, and it's a whole lot of, there's a little bit of biophysics. Some of it is physics that's over my head, but for the most part, I understand the biological part of it. It's really cool. It's how flies turn into flies and how humans turn into humans. And it's the cool part is you can
But
mix.
the fly's never given birth to a human, so why bother?
I
saw that movie, but
yeah, I saw that movie too. That was what the hell's his name? James Woods? Was that him?
No, it was
The fuck was it?
no. Jeff. Not
Goldblum. It was Goldblum.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, the fly was a earlier movie too.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't remember the actors. It was like an early, okay, I'm going to look it up or Icarus will probably have it looked up by the time I get.
Yep, he probably will. So
that's why we love Icarus.
Yep.
That's a great sense of humor. All right, smart guy.
So Bloomington, Minnesota is still standing. So they put in new sirens and they sound like aliens, the sirens. Very disturbing. I mean, I went outside and it was creepy as hell to hear these weird alien sirens going off. They were just really odd.
Well, thank you, Icarus. But the one I was referring to was the 1958 one.
Yeah, the first one that came out. Yeah.
Yeah, James. Let's see. David Hedison, Patricia Owens, Vincent Price was in it. Okay, that's one old name that I know.
Oh my God, Vincent Price. Anyway.
So, anyway.
Well, guys, let's shoot it in the head and go to sleep.
Well, that may be the best thing. We already bored. Who did we scare away? Oh yeah, this
Dave and
side chatterer Justin Aleo.
Oh, we scared him away.
Yeah, and Icarus has now changed the name to Icarus of the Month. He's not that old. Well, I never saw it. In fact, I've never seen the first Fly movie. But
maybe
I saw the 1986 one. I really miss Gina Davis. I don't know why she quit acting, but
so should we bother to pick a couple parts of that debate where Ian asked the question and Hovind came back with some bizarre answer and actually put Hovind under the microscope and try to figure out what my son was listening to it, right? And he's not in our community at all, so he's not used to this stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what an idiot. He's like, what is he saying? It's like, what did he say?
What an idiot. Yeah.
The average person listens to this stuff and it's like, where are you getting this shit from? It's like, oh my God. I love when he says, what the hell, when he says, oh, you can't prove that fossil had any children.
That's the stupidest line of argument.
That was one of the ones that got my son, and my son, it's like, what? What did he say?
Well, you can't prove that single fossil did, but what do things do in nature? They eat, they shit, they fuck, and have babies.
Yeah, they exist in a population,
mm-hmm.
and and the lineage does not have to. In order to be an intermediate type, it does not have to be in the same lineage at all.
Yeah.
We know that. And nor does it have to, the times have to exactly line up in parallel because things move at different rates. Anyway, maybe
there's so many things wrong with that. Like, it's just, that's not how cladistic methodology works at all. Yeah. I mean, like, you don't have to, you don't have to, like when you're doing a paternity test, for example, you don't have to know who gave birth to who to know that you're the father or something along those lines. Like it's the same thing here. Like you don't need to know the exact ancestor to know that things are related to one another.
Yeah. Yep. James Downard is here. Hi, James.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin's back.
Yeah, Justin, we'll try to go over. We'll try to put Kent under the microscope a little. It's just that when you put something that ugly under a microscope and that boring under a microscope, it often isn't pleasant. So I don't know, but we'll try. And I put a link out, Andrew, to a video that Cell did, where he was talking, where he used the same old tired argument about rocks. Basically, folded rocks had to be wet. He says they had to be wet in order to fold.
Right.
And so this is Sal Cordova, the brilliant applied physicist with 6 degrees of obfuscation.
Mm-hmm. It's disappointing.
It is really disappointing.
I really think this whole creationism thing has just skewed his perception.
So, James Downard, please look at the video that I linked just now. I just put it out. That one is Sal Cordova making dumb about geology and the flood. You might be interested in taking a look at that.
I'll just say I started becoming disappointed with Sal the moment he started talking about the cosmology stuff.
I know, yeah, that too. You know, and so what if the Big Bang, if there's some other theory, right, that's more encompassing than the expansion, it really doesn't prove God, for one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's overly excited about any criticism he sees of any idea that is accepted in mainstream science.
Yeah.
That is it in a nutshell. If you
Speaking
see
of expansion, I wonder if Leo is still around.
You might be. Not sure.
Leo, come join us.
Mr. Downer.
RJ, how's it going,
Hey,
sir?
RJ.
Hey,
Can we hear you?
we don't know. I know StreamYard does not work for RJ.
Yeah, that really sucks. We need somebody. There needs to be a emergency infrastructure bill just designed to get RJ better connected to the internet. We need his shit.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mean, dang it! Wednesday night used to be the night because I would log in and listen to you go on and criticize. I guess you've been on Jensen for quite a while, and it's just good stuff. And we need that knowledge base of RJ Downard. We just have to have it. The world must have source method knowledge.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, it's not robotic on there.
Yeah, you are roboting way too bad.
You're roboting. I can't hear.
So RJ, you're one of the reasons I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of StreamYard and I'm going to Zoom and OBS, and I've got to do that within a couple of weeks here.
Oh, he's gone.
Lost him, yeah. But I'm going to try and solve this problem. And what's going to happen is all of you guys will come in on Zoom, and then I'll run you through OBS, and I have to rearrange it depending on how many guests I want and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm working it out, and it works pretty well. And I think Zoom works for everybody. I don't think I've ever seen Zoom fail like StreamYard.
Zoom. I'm sorry.
And Zoom costs me $20 a month, which I've been paying anyway. And StreamYard is costing me $50 a month, so that'll be $50 more a month I can invest in Bitcoin. So I've lost $2,500 now on Bitcoin, but I lowered my buy-in cost from, what was it? It was like 41,000 when I talked to you about it. That my buy-in was. Now I'm down to 35,900. So,
oh well.
But Bitcoin is only 28,000, so I'm getting my ass kicked. But it will change unless we go into a deep recession. The Dow has not been too healthy. Anyway,
so
Romania is being coy or whatever.
He's always coy.
He won't come in.
Romania?
He didn't do a damn thing all weekend.
I know. Nothing.
Look who it is.
It's Standing for Truth.
Hello.
Truth.
Come on in. The thing is pinned. Come on in and talk to us about your moderation. We love what Ian did so much. We were just like, you had to be been a little bit full of yourself, right? I mean, even though he was testing you as a moderator. Anyway, you want to stop in and say hi? We're going to close the stream in about 5 minutes. We're not going to grill you.
Why are you scared to come in?
He's afraid of me. He's too scared. He's afraid of the speed of sound. Speed of sound, kick his butt. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I think we're
gonna. So I guess if I can prolong the stream, however much necessary, there was one part of the debate where like Kent was talking about Ian brought up the bears and seals, and Kent kind of went off on his usual jibber jabber about
Whales.
No, the how the classification system was kind of arbitrary, and I just a certain part of it, I don't know exactly what he said, but it just really got me. It was he mentioned the flippers, or right?
Yeah, was he saying that bears and seals are probably the same kind anyway because it's all arbitrary? I don't know.
Yeah, he was. Well, he said something like you're just looking at the skulls. You're not looking at the rest of the body. And he mentioned something about like the paws versus the flippers, for example. And
so he thinks they're classifying animals just by looking at the skull.
Because Ian brought up the skull, and then Kent was saying that you need to look at the rest of the body, and I guess implying that they'd be totally different, or I don't know, just something about it really screamed that he was really lacking some critical knowledge about classification here, which probably isn't that surprising.
Hello, Donnie. How you doing?
So how was your
This is a rare treat.
So how was your experience as a moderator in your debate?
You know, I am ready for early retirement.
Ian broke you, didn't he?
Yeah, he really made me work for my paycheck tonight.
Oh, that was pretty good. When he slipped in that I don't speak redneck right in the middle, and it was so subtle that I don't even know if you caught it, because he just threw it in there just so subtly. He was apologizing for his Australian accent, and then he says, "But then again, I don't speak redneck."
Yeah, he did a good job sneaking him in to the point. Well, and the chat was so wild, right? I mean, we must have had 1,000.
It was getting heated in there.
Right. So, like, you know, in one of my ears, I would catch something and I'd be like, okay,
What
you know,
did
maybe
I
I need
hear?
to jump in. And I did my best. But
At some point, you should have just said, don't make me pull this debate over. Or something like that.
Don't make me
turn
stop
this debate
right
around
now.
But Kent needed I think Kent needed that debate because he was getting bored, you know?
Yeah.
It was fun in the sense that it changed things up a little bit. You know, we've now done like 26 of these in the last 3 months. So Ian brought forth a debate. His approach made for a fun debate. So, you know, we'll give him that. That's for sure. Where did Ian go?
Probably different ways of coming at it.
I think he had a little Victoria to take care of.
Feed Victoria.
Well, those debates can be exhausting too. So I'm sure he just wants to go relax, lay down on the couch. I thought I was going to have to bring in reinforcements, Andrew. I was going to call you in. And be like, all right, guys, we need to.
For Ian, that was about 7 a.m., 7 in the morning. So he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah.
You know,
it's 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. He's in the future.
Yeah. He's in the future.
I keep asking him to give me Bitcoin prices from the future, but he won't.
He's keeping that all to himself, right?
He keeps it to himself, yeah. He keeps repeating the same price we have here, which doesn't do me any good. You know?
Well, I hope you guys have had a good after show so far. Speed, I know we've had our differences in opinion, but I do hope you're well. I hope you're doing well and having a good year so far.
Oh, I am. Wonderful year. Had a little bit of cancer, but I think I stomped it out. So
good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Wow.
Well,
I'm glad to hear that you stomped it out. Listen, no cancer is going to take you out, my good man.
No, that you got to have something a lot stronger than that shit.
Like a young Earth creationist, right? These yaks, I tell you, they're like a
Speaking of
your nemesis.
Oh no! I only joined because Dr. Ian Chen was no longer in here, so.
Actually, Donnie did a pretty good job, but that guy really frustrates me, and he did a good job pulling me up. So good stuff on that. But sometimes I have to say, he says the same shit. He misrepresents me. He misrepresents when I said something. He he does this whole I can't understand. It's just frustrating that he. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about it. It's whatever. I don't
I'm
understand
sure he
you. Whatever.
frustrates everyone in his own little way.
Well,
I couldn't help giving him the jibes after that. Just like, oh, whatever.
I can barely even listen to him because he keeps saying the same. I mean, it's almost like he's doing one of his kid videos over and over and over again. And I have to fast forward the Kent Hovind parts. So it's really.
Hey, how many people was listening in, Donnie? I wasn't looking at it at all.
200
so I don't know.
something, right? 200 or 300, wasn't it?
Yeah, at one point it did. I think when it started getting a little spicy there, Dr. Ian Chen, we had over 300 people. So
nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Should have let me go then, Donnie. I was trying to beat the record, and obviously I didn't. But if you just let me go, then maybe it would have gone more. Just let me run the reins. Instead of doing the moderating, just you should have gone upstairs for another couple minutes, Donnie. Just gone upstairs for a couple minutes.
So Donnie, he admitted that he said feces instead of shit just because of you, because he was afraid of you, right?
Yeah, I did.
You did that for
before
me,
that.
Ian.
Before that, I said, I was thinking, God, he talks a lot of shit. But then I caught myself and went, can't say that. I'll say feces.
Donnie's a moderating influence on Ian.
That's very sweet of you, Ian. I'm glad that I have a little bit of an influence on you. And yeah,
he didn't make me stop. I mean, it's all his I can't understand you, which I think is complete bull. It's misrepresenting the question. I even rephrased it 3 or 4 times. I just concluded he just frustrates me, and I
will say, even though we have our separate divergent opinions, SFT, I think that in all honesty, compared to some people, I won't name names here, but you do have a bit more moderating skills than some other people I've interacted with. Let's just say.
Great dog.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're
well, I appreciate that.
The Bree is back.
You are excellent.
Yeah, I just had to get some dinner for everybody.
Well, wait a minute. I think I missed that compliment from Speed of Sound. I've never thought I'd see the day. So what was that?
You really got your shit together, and you really know what you're doing running a YouTube.
Save it, Donnie. Donnie, save it. Did you screenshot?
That's all you're gonna get.
Yeah. I'm gonna tear that out and make a separate clip. Speed of Sound gives Standing for Truth a compliment on April 1st.
Do a whole evolutionist YouTubers accidentally compliment me and just do a cut shot of everything that you've heard and just make a little video reel out of it.
You know, sometimes we give each other the heat, but you know what? It's all in love. It's all in good fun. So you know, I appreciate you guys. You guys are making for some good interactions.
We can't be nice now, Donnie. We can't be nice. Look at Germania's comment. We got Hey, Leo.
It's a Leo.
We got Leo Filius in here. Leo,
hey, Germania, stick around. He's drinking. It's gonna get worse now.
Oh no, he's drinking.
That's cerveza?
Not when. Well, yeah, it is cerveza. It's beer, but it's
let's have a look now.
It's the Champagne of beers.
Sorry, Donnie, what were you saying?
High life.
I was saying, Ian. So I had a crazy day. You and I were actually chatting a little bit over Facebook, and so I rushed home, quickly had dinner, and I didn't have enough time to get a coffee. So your intro and opening was 14 minutes. And I said, okay, this is the perfect time. So shared your screen, put it on full, went upstairs and made
I just wasn't sure whether I thought I had audio problems again. So I was worried. I was like, oh, can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
we had slight audio problems at the beginning. So that's why I was worried.
No, you came in good. And I always bring my phone up with me so I can still hear what's going on. So all of a sudden I started hearing you from my phone saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And I'm just running down.
At least I'm not the only one that does that. I thought I might be the only one that does that. That if I'm listening to a stream or something, or if I'm in it and I got to go like to the bathroom or go downstairs, you know, make some food, I put it up on my phone, bring my phone with me.
It's exactly what I do. Almost every opening statement when a debate gets started, I take my phone with me. I go make a coffee, get some snacks. So Ian, you
Donnie, those times when you're off for like 5 minutes and not 2 minutes, are you taking a shit? Was it really coffee? Come on, honestly.
It was. Look, I've even got a little bit left still. There we go.
Nice.
But I'll get a fresh one after this.
Leo, what's up with you, man?
Not much. Gonna be getting ready to start a script for a new for a Raw Refutations video. I don't know when it'll drop. It probably won't drop for a week or two, but William Lane Craig released a a short, like, 1.5 minute, maybe 2 minute video talking about can everyone be saved? And he kind of talks about how, God wills for everyone to be saved through his I can't remember, there's permissive will, and then there's another type of will that these evangelicals have to split it into, because their worldview is so post hoc and convoluted. They have to come up with all of these other rationalizations for the differentiation in the various aspects of their views. But there's the one will, and there's the permissive will. And so what he was talking about, there's prescriptive will. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, prescriptive and then permissive. So he was kind of talking about how God does desire for all people to be saved, and he wills for all people to be saved through his prescriptive will. That's what he prescribes, but through his permissive will, and wanting us to be truly free and rational agents, he permits us to, through our will, refuse to align with what he wants. And there's an argument that I initially heard from Danny that I maybe somebody else has called it this or something, but I've dubbed it the argument from failure, that essentially says that if it's the case that God desires for all humans to be saved, or wills for this, regardless of whatever kind of desire or will you want to throw it into, that what this means is that if that desire is not met, if it's not something that's fulfilled in the world, what this means is that God is failing with respect to that desire. And in being omnipotent being, omnipotence just entails that God can't ever fail with respect to any desire or anything that he wills. If he wills it, necessarily it must be the case. So if God wills for all humans to be saved, but it is true that not all humans will be saved, then God is failing with respect to that desire, and thus God couldn't be omnipotent. And thus, sure, maybe we could, quibble about whether this particular being exists, but it couldn't be God, because it loses omnipotence, which is one of the great making properties of classical theism. Yeah, and so I'm going to be doing an outline of that argument with, as a response to that video, and kind of outline what that argument is.
Yeah, I think the idea of omnipotence is just trickling away. There were many of my professors that were making allowances for it to not be omnipotence. It's just the maximal greatness or whatever, maximal power. So that's how people are resolving what's the dilemma? It's not the Euthyphro? It's not the Euthyphro. Is that the one that says if God is omnipotent and omnibenevolent and omniscient, then and yet evil happens, he's not good?
That's the problem of evil.
Yeah, it's just a basic problem of evil. Yeah, but yeah, that's how it seems to be how evangelicalism is resolving that. Is just kind of generally, it's just more and more people are giving up on the idea of omnipotence.
Yeah, omnipotence, I think, has issues, particularly for classical theism. I think there's actually quite a few arguments out there. Classical theism is just not something that I think can actually be reasonably defended, if I'm being honest. I think maybe a more general theism, or maybe like a deism, would be more defensible. I mean, if you're just sort of like a basic theist or deist, you don't need to grant that God is like morally perfect, so you could overcome arguments from evil. There's you don't think that God has requires certain things for people to be saved, so you can overcome arguments from failure. There's a variety of arguments that you can avoid if you just don't hold the specifically classical theism.
There look at there. Oh, she's so beautiful.
She just came to say hi to Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hey, little lady.
How's your grandson?
Oh my goodness.
How's it going there, Vicky?
Vicky. It's funny we don't call her Vicky, but it does fit.
So I take it you work from home mostly?
Well, today I actually took a day off. I did it because I didn't definitely.
How could you ever leave the house without that little girl?
No shit.
She's a sweetie.
Yeah, she is. She's bossy. She's a queen as well. Queen Victoria, absolutely.
Ian, just a quick question. Your headset, is the brand Sennheiser?
No, it's Jebra.
Okay. It looked similar to mine, and I was wondering, I was like, is he wearing a Sennheiser? Is that a Sennheiser?
there is it's a work one. There is a Sennheiser from work, but it's a double one. I think maybe it's
Oh, okay, yeah.
it's double. This is just a
I
single
would,
one.
oh, there, never. You beat me to it. I was
you
gonna
missed.
say,
How you
let's
doing?
welcome Dr. Dan to the side chat.
Dr. Dan
Yeah.
Puffy.
Maybe he can come in.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd
Unfortunately-
love to invite you in, Dan. Click on that link there.
Unfortunately, I'm not subscribed to Standing for Truth, so I did miss. I caught like maybe the last 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of the Q&A. Because y'all just treat me like a mushroom these days. You keep me in the dark and feed me shit. So I didn't know that Ian was debating Kent. So yeah,
we need to change that.
Jeez, Leo, I was in Speed's channel the last few days trying to talk it up. So where have you been?
I haven't been.
That's probably why.
I haven't been at home the last few days. Well, at least not regularly, I should say.
Okay, was it a holiday?
No,
I
it's just.
think you might get a kick out of this kind of, Leo, not to sort of change the topic, but in the side chat towards the beginning of the debate, there was like some semi-discussion about the Big Bang cosmology that I was kind of a part of. I guess I'd like to hear your thoughts about this whole not terminology. What's the word I'm looking for? The language used when talking about the expansion of the universe and how things supposedly moving away faster than light, and that kind of stuff. Which I mean isn't totally incorrect, but it just seems a bit misleading to me. But I guess what are your thoughts on that kind of use of language there?
Are these arguments along the lines of, well, the universe can't be expanding because they say that space has to expand faster than light, but nothing can move faster than light?
Yeah, kind of that. I guess my issue is with the whole moving faster than light thing to begin with, because
that's in space-time. Space-time isn't in space-time, so space-time is not subject to the same rules that things in space-time are subject to.
Yeah, it's just I don't like the terminology or like I said, the language exactly, because things aren't really moving, nor are they receding faster than the speed of light. They're more just from like Hubble's distance relationship, and how the farther away a galaxy appears, the faster it appears to be moving away, but isn't really moving or anything.
Leo, you're a B theorist, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like pretty much all of all physicists and the vast majority of philosophers studying the subject.
A what theorist?
A B theorist.
You're B theorist.
It's tenseless theory of time versus tensed theory of time.
Is William Lane Craig an A theorist?
Yes, and specifically a presentist, which is not at all difficult. I can take an entry-level special relativity scenario that your professor asks you on the first day, that you don't even need to actually try to solve. It's just something to get your mind thinking about the quote-unquote paradoxes of relativity, and that would be, say you have three people. Oh,
can I quickly? No, I was just going to say I've got to go soon because the kid's crying. Probably should help out. But I just want to say I'm going through the chats on this video, and I really like to comment Brainbug.
Why'd you
Ian
make
is
her
from
cry?
Australia. They don't lay on the couch. They hang from. I don't know. Probably misses Daddy. She loves Daddy more. What can I say?
You sure?
Right.
I don't know, man.
Come on, Leo. What's not to love? Look at this. Look at this physique. Anyway, hey guys, thanks for the invite, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And
yeah, Ian, great job tonight.
It was great.
Yeah, great debate.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because this is
Ian,
one that
I captured about 2,200 of the chats. Then I
apparently it got racist. I was told by others that it got racist. So
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Anyway, I missed a few of them, but I'll pick them up tomorrow and I'll pat them in. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that'd be great. I just like to kind of look like I'm doing now with reading Brainbug's comments and stuff. It's quite funny.
Can I read you guys something really quickly? Ian, you should at least stick around for this. It won't take long.
Yeah, go for it.
Just on the thing of, you mentioned that they were racist. You guys are all intelligent enough. You'll get the connection after you hear this. And I can, well, not right now, but if somebody wants the link to this, just let me know and I'll try to find a way to get it to you. Quote, supporting the hypothesis, low belief in human evolution was associated with higher levels of prejudice, racist attitudes, and support for discriminatory behaviors against lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer or LGBTQ, blacks, and immigrants in the United States, with higher in-group biases, prejudicial attitudes toward outgroups, and less support for conflict resolution in samples collected from 19 Eastern European countries, 25 Muslim countries, and Israel. Further, among Americans, lower belief in evolution was associated with greater prejudice and militaristic attitudes toward political outgroups. End quote.
Wow.
Yeah,
put that link in the chat.
I can't. I was reading it off my phone, and I'm not on here on my phone. Oh, okay. Wait, no. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Did you all?
Because they always say like Darwin or just evolutionists in general are racist for some reason.
Yeah, that's just racism. Rooted in the fact that there were people who took what Darwin wrote down and painted it as if painted it in a eugenicist light, and so because people used all the things concerning genetics as that was coming about, what have you, they used that to argue that certain human groups were not actual, they were subhuman, and because people used developments in genetics and evolutionary biology and things like that to make racist arguments that therefore evolution itself and modern biology must be rooted in racist ideals, which is an informal fallacy. I'm not quite sure which one that is right off the top of my head. I'd have to think about it, but that is an informal fallacy.
This is wrong. Let's just keep it at that.
It'd be a genetic fallacy, wouldn't it? Because these people that said this were racist, and it's bad because it's racist.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sort of.
Guys,
what's?
So
take it easy.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I think a lot of it is.
Bye.
Yep.
I think a lot of that is rooted in the fact that Darwin used the word preferred race, or used this term preferred race.
Yeah, they take that completely out of context.
Right. Because it's Victorian English where they used races, and they did think back then in Victorian England that humans were different subspecies of it's the same species that all the different ethnic races, if you will, all the different.
Well, they did in industrial and just barely pre-industrial white Europe, but prior to that there isn't actually any evidence of the notion of for most of human history, the concept of race and how race was defined back in the 1700s or 1600s or whenever it was, I think it was the 1700s when it came about, wasn't an idea that many ancient cultures seemed to share. That was an intuition that not all of them, but at least most of them didn't seem to share. They made distinctions on different lines that were albeit social, but not necessarily racial. You actually maybe more ethnic, but not.
That's one thing I like about the Bible is it actually punctuates those different groups, because even within just the people in Canaan, there were all these different little subgroups, and that's the way just that people thought about. And those were different. They considered themselves different races,
tribes, and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the whole world was like that for tens of thousands of years before we formed united these nations that we have now, and united all the people under different crowns. I mean, even that was ugly and brutal to get to where we are now. Socially,
when we had small tribes, I think most tribes thought the next tribe over weren't human,
right? Or at least, especially if they looked different, right? But you look at genetic diversity in sub-Saharan Africa, there's more genetic diversity within those people groups down there than there's the rest of the globe combined.
Back in Roman days,
clearly we didn't. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Back in the Roman days, wasn't it more that it wasn't that they didn't consider them human, they just weren't chosen people. They were human, but I can do whatever the fuck I want because you're not.
Or they just wasn't our people. Yeah.
Well, here's an example. Here's an example. When you hear one group of Christians, the conservative Baptists opposing the woke Baptists or the new Baptist, the more liberal Baptist church, or you hear them talk about the Trinity. They talk about each other like they're not human, like they're totally damned. They're they're heretics or whatever. I mean, this kind of judging of other groups of people based on their ideas, ideologies, culture, habit, whatever, is just built into our fiber. I mean, it's very easy to fall into. And
we were talking about tens of thousands of years ago. what are the indigenous people like in Papua New Guinea called? I can't remember the tribe, but the guy who wrote Guns, Germs, and Steel.
Oh yeah.
Jared Diamond, I think that's his name. But anyway, he talked about how whenever they were traveling down a road or a trail, and they encountered another person, the things that went on in their head were, are we of the same tribe? And if not, do I kill this person? Do I kill them? Sometimes you would, sometimes you wouldn't. But that was basically the decision that went on in your head when you were, going down a trail and encountering another human being. Are they ours, or do I kill them?
Right.
So,
yeah. Can I clarify a comment that Dr. Icarus made in the side chat? They said, I should say, I actually don't know how they prefer to be referred to, so I should say they. They said maybe they could just mean that higher levels of education is associated with lower levels of prejudice and racist attitudes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's not that I want to say that's wrong, but I don't want to say that's correct. From what I've looked at, it's not so much education, so much as it is exposure to differing cultures. Mm-hmm. You can be dumb as a box of rocks, but if you've been exposed to a variety of different cultures throughout your life, you're far less likely to be prejudiced, racist, bigoted, all those things. That it's more how exposed you are to differing cultures, differing ideals, differing perspectives, differing peoples, whatever have you. That's where the open-mindedness and reduction in prejudicial and bigoted thinking tends to come from.
It's kind of like how outside opinions helps with groupthink sort of thing.
You don't want to confuse education with intelligence, for one thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And also,
but I think if you're more educated or more intelligent, you tend to have greater humility. And humility is the first thing that you have to have if you're not going to be a racist.
Well, there's one dimension of that, too, which is what level of privilege you feel tied into. They were showing one of those I Wish a Karen Would things on Rashad Ritchie's show on TYT. And they had this Karen in the backyard of a neighbor's house, and they were putting on a neighborhood comedy club show or something like that in somebody's backyard, which I thought that's a great idea. Talk about getting together with people in the neighborhood and putting on a show. That's pretty, a pretty nice idea. And so this Karen gets all upset, goes through the owners, to the house of the people that were hosting it, comes to the backyard, starts yelling at everybody, grabs the microphone from the comedian, slaps him, punches him in the shoulder. And, that is just the privilege that she felt, that she was able to police the neighborhood and also to commit assault with no expectation of.
She went through their house.
That's called.
She went through their house into the backyard and basically ended up assaulting the kid on stage who was being the comedian, trying to be a comedian or whatever. So and of course she was yelling and cursing. You're not funny. Blah blah blah. This is not a. You can't do this here because this is not a private business or something like that, or a club.
You have a permit or whatever.
Yeah, but she just felt privileged. Like this, I can police the neighborhood, and and of course this was a white on white crime, but if a black family had been doing something, it would have been even worse because especially in the South, white people of privilege feel like they can police any given black person. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Call the cops on them if they're in your neighborhood. But if it's an unknown white person, they're more liable to let it go, let it slide. So anyway, I think privilege and social status has a lot to do with people's attitudes towards race and other cultures. A lot of educated people have that elite status. So I don't know that education. I can see why education would mitigate some of that, but it sure doesn't eliminate it.
You and Speed have a little bit more than the rest of us too, because you're older white men, so
more privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old privilege. I don't know.
You get a senior discount.
Yeah. Oh God, I hate that fight. I absolutely refuse to take a senior discount. I will not allow it. Basically.
That beard comes with a senior discount, right, Scott?
Yeah.
So far, it just has kids stare at me, not wanting to ask the question, "Are you really Santa Claus?"
So what I always do if they ask me if I want a senior discount, I said, "Are you implying that I'm old?" and they're like, "Oh no, sir, no, sir." It's like,
I've never been asked to
really
if I wanted a senior discount, and also
you will.
I've asked people to card me.
Oh yeah,
just to feel the sensation of being carded again.
Well, fuck, I was smoking like 11 years ago, and at Cub Foods here, I mean, I was 60-some years old, right? And they would card you to get cigarettes. I'm like, really? Are you kidding? And they'd ask me, they said, well, are you over 21? And I said, well, not really. I actually drank a lot and did a lot of drugs. I'm actually 819. I just look like this. So, what's up?
Can I say something really quickly, just to what Scott had said earlier?
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought I had read something, and I just had to look it up to confirm it. At least based on the studies the research that's at least currently available, wealth is actually negatively correlated with things like racism, bigotry. Not that you were saying that it really wasn't or anything like that. Just
that wouldn't surprise me.
And that's likely because wealthier people are more likely to be educated, which is education is positively correlated with, not being a racist or a bigot or anything, but it's not as strongly correlated with it as like exposure is. And then wealthy people have the ability to travel more and gain the exposure where poorer people do not. So,
well, don't you think that basically attitudes like that and racism are grounded essentially in fear? I mean,
yes,
it's fear,
largely
fear of something, right? So
no, that's what most researchers say. Yeah,
but if you're well-to-do and you're secure in your life and your position, you're going to have less fear than other people.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Why do you think under systems that we live under, they want to keep people poor? Because it's easier to keep poor people afraid of things. Right. Because people who are struggling to make ends meet can be easily scared into thinking that somebody's getting more than what they have undeservedly, or is coming for what they have, and you better watch out. Then the people actually doing the raping and the robbing can just point their fingers at innocent people with a darker skin color and blame it on them while they continue to rape and rob the whole world of all of its resources.
Yep.
What was that? Who was that? Was that George Wallace that was quoted as saying about keeping the poorest white man's head above the richest black man, or something like that?
It would surprise me.
Probably.
Kind of like something Wallace would have said. I'm not quite sure, and that quote's not exact, but it was some private tapes or something.
Did you hear about that report that came? They did a 2-year report after the George Floyd thing on the Minneapolis Police Department, and they found it was just scathing. They found that racism and violence and domestic abuse and all kinds of other shit was just like the police department was filthy with this stuff. And they're probably still not going to do anything about this police department in Minneapolis. But they're basically, their union leader, I think, is a white supremacist. And it's just a pile of shit. And when you heard that stuff about we were going to dissolve our police force, what was really going to happen is they were going to take the power away from that union and that particular group of, white idiots.
And wasn't it just a decentralization of the control over the police force in the city?
They
weren't getting rid of it, decentralizing the control. I thought it was.
Yeah, well, one consideration is to disband the city police and turn it over to the sheriff's department, because they're elected, and the sheriff's department has like I think they have like 10% of the cases of shootings and violence and issues, because they're usually run by really intelligent people, and it's a well-run department. So that was one idea. The other idea was to take a lot of the funding and hire people that were capable of hire psychologists and medical people to deal with half the problem.
I think maybe it was Aurora, Colorado, or Denver. All I know is there was a city in Colorado that started doing that. They called it their star or their stars, or it was something like that. Yeah. And they said
Resident Evil.
I don't know what it was called. It was something along those lines. I don't know what Resident Evil even is. I've heard those words. Don't know what the fuck they mean. Anyway,
the video game franchise is fairly
that's
popular.
Cool. It's not RuneScape, so I don't care. Anyway,
oh wow,
the
dude!
point being the point being that hopefully I don't lose my train of thought here because I'm about to.
Stars you were talking about.
The point being that when they started dispatching domestic abuse counselors and counselors that specialize in neurodivergent individuals and all of this stuff to these kinds of disputes, number one, the whole these people are gonna they'll just end up getting shot or something and they're gonna need the police anyway was not a thing that happened. Calls to the police dropped drastically. Arrests went down. Police violence went down. Like it was just obviously the best thing to do. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why it's not done all across the United States. And that goes to the point that Speed was bringing up, that the police in the United States are just systemically racist. I mean, racism and bigotry are higher. Domestic abuse are higher. All these numbers are demonstrably, objectively higher amongst police. And then you have the police unions that aren't really unions. They're just sort of a special interest group and a lobbying group for law enforcement.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I'm basically getting involved in some groups that are questioning how police handle restraining orders. And there's this whole thing among police where they are basically, I think it's a federal law that they have to take weapons away from individuals when there's a restraining order. And had they done that, my daughter would still be alive if they had just done that one thing. And they don't do it. Like Jon Stewart had a big thing on it. He had two women there that were in wheelchairs, both of them. Both of them were shot by people that they had restraining orders against. And the police have this sort of, we don't want to infringe on his rights because he's one of the guys, right? It's like they don't. It's just ridiculous. They have all these attitudes, and it's filthy. With
police is a good old boys club.
Yeah, exactly. And they treat and basically they treat these domestic abusers the same way. And they don't do what they need to do in order to protect the person.
Well, you know why women never, or I shouldn't say never, why women actually quite rarely report rapes and stuff like that to the police. Because the police don't ever do anything about it. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So my daughter got a restraining order on, September 9th. And he refused to be served. So on October 9th, they served it in the newspaper. And on October 9th, the police could have, should have, and would have taken his gun away because he had a registered gun in his name. And on November 4th, he killed my daughter with that gun. And had they taken that gun away, it would have been an entirely different outcome. And this happened again to a young lady up in northern Minnesota. I'm going up there to a memorial, and there's a couple of groups, and I'm hoping to get a little bit involved in that because it's ridiculous. Why don't they? I mean, if you get a restraining order, if you're considered a danger to somebody, take the damn guns away. It's just drives me crazy.
By the way, Scott, I hope you got something to drink with that peanut butter.
I'm, and I know you are too, Speed, but I'm all about gun rights. I don't understand this. Like there shouldn't be a single regulation on them at all anywhere ever. I don't.
Well, yeah, I'm about automobile rights too, but I don't think that we should just let everybody just get behind the wheel and take off.
Yeah. I definitely shouldn't be allowed to drive without a license.
Okay, Leo.
And proper.
I'm a gun owner and I'm a gun carrier. In fact, I have one right here, right now, always with me. But I believe that if I start to aberrate, I start to get old. I start to develop dementia or whatever. That my son should have the ability to take that gun away from me legally, and that I should also have to go and get trained in order to carry that gun around. And I mean, I believe in strong gun regulation, but not so strong as to prevent a person from protecting themselves, basically. So, like, I don't like shit like as soon as they try to pass a gun bill, they try to slip in this bullshit that they're going to criminalize not having your gun in a safe. And a gun is like worthless in a fucking safe. And that prevents you from protecting yourself with a gun, right? So, I mean, that's unreasonable. What is reasonable is background checks, fucking psychological evaluations, your relatives having the ability to pull
okay, Speed. Say you pass the psychological evaluation, and everything's fine, but then over time, your psychological health starts to decline,
deteriorate, right?
Yeah, how are they gonna do that? How are they gonna know that?
It's called a red flag law. If your relatives notice that you're deteriorating, that you're a danger to yourself or to others, or that there's a possibility of a danger, and they could call you in for basically an evaluation, and you have to defend your right to carry a gun. And I wouldn't mind going in front of a judge and defending my sanity. If they find me insane, then fuck it, take my gun away, for God's sake.
Well, I guess you gotta ask what qualifies as insane anyway, because usually insane is just a plea defense, and it's a plea defense in a criminal trial.
Yeah, well, there are a whole lot of professionals that are pretty goddamn good at making determinations like you are a danger to yourself or to others, or you're starting to sound crazy or act crazy or whatever. But I mean, if you're threatening people or you're talking about killing people, and your relatives get to the point where they think that you have a problem, I think that you should be called into court to defend your right to carry a gun.
I mean, if you're going around trying to kill people and never actually do anything, like usually you gotta figure.
It doesn't matter.
Usually you have to worry about the quiet ones going insane, not the not the loud ones.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get quiet ones too, but the sister of the person that killed my daughter, she tried to help him 10 or 15 years before. And she was told the same thing that my daughter was told. Well, ma'am, he's not a harm to himself or anybody else. But she knew that he was starting to do weird things, right? And the whole family knew that something was going wrong with Ray. And nobody could do anything. Nobody could or would do anything about it, right? Nobody would help. I mean, people that know you, like, that's why it drives me nuts when there's a mass shooting, that they never go down and do a strong analysis of the people that knew this person, and they never make that public, right? All they want to talk about is how much blood and gore there was, how many victims there were, or whatever. I want to know why the fuck this son of a bitch did it, and whether or not anybody saw it coming. That's what I would like to know.
It's usually a radical right winger that does it, and they usually do it for explicit reasons outlined in some manifesto that they wrote up before they did this in almost every instance, and it seems to be overlooked by all the police and all of the media because they don't want it out there, because they're trying to paint a particular narrative and pushing that little white boys are doing this because they're being radicalized into right wing terrorism is not the narrative that they're trying to push, so they suppress it.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I gotta end this. I have got to go. I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Hey, Bree, would you mind sticking around after everybody leaves? I'm assuming everyone's leaving.
Me?
I said Bree.
Oh,
I am leaving, but only in some sense midnight. For I am everywhere at all times at once.
Okay.
Except at the quantum level, because I can't be everywhere at once, because that's not how it works.
So you're saying you're the wind?
Okay.
Something like that.
shooting it in the head, the actual world.
Thank you to our side
And
chat.
remember, everybody, before we go, unless, and I want to quote a famous author here, unless someone like you brings out the chippity chop, nothing's going to get better. It's not.
Okay.
Wow, it gave me cancer.